Hello and welcome to the Blessings in the Streets podcast. I am your host, Joseph B. Roberts. And in studio with me this evening is a phenomenal woman that I recently had the chance to connect with across social media lines. She's a mother, she's an author, but most importantly, she's a woman of God. And she's taking time out of her very busy schedule to hang out with this evening to share a little bit of her journey, a little bit of her story with the hopes of inspiring and encouraging and uplifting others, especially when it comes to dealing with the challenges of life that we all face in some fashion or form. So it is my privilege and honor, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce to you our special guest this evening, Miss T.R. Monroe. T.R., thank you for being on the show with us this evening.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. So before we jump into our segments this evening, I do want to give you an opportunity to share a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, what you do. Kind of give our audience a taste of who is T.R. Monroe.
Okay. Born in Salisbury, North Carolina. North Carolina girl through and through. Um, I stayed there for a little while, but I did do a lot of transitions. So, but I still consider that my birthplace. Went off to college in Greensboro, Aggie Pride at A&T, and got my master's there and had my kids. Got my mother. I'm a caregiver for her. And being an educator. And then I'm service minded, so I'm always doing some type of volunteer work or helping someone out.
All right, all right. Well, that is very awesome. Love to hear that. And again, all to my listeners, even though I'm having a chance to meet Tr, just like you are, and I know a little bit about it. She's being very modest about the many hats that she's wearing right now, but we're gonna roll with that. We're gonna roll with that. We appreciate her modesty, but I promise you, we're gonna dig a little deeper and find out all about the wonderful works that she's doing because she surely is doing some great stuff. Otherwise, I wouldn't have her on the show if I didn't think she was gonna be a blessing for us this evening, and I'm confident that she's gonna do just that. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and let's go ahead and jump right into these segments. I don't want to waste any time. I want to get into your story and again find out more about you. So Tr, when I bring in people on the show, one of the things that I like to do is take a moment to reflect back on where your story begins. And a lot of times that becomes necessary because when we're younger, especially as far back as childhood, there are events that occur in our lives, people that we encounter, and in the moment, we don't really make any, connections to that or make any sense of it. But as you get some years on your life and life starts to transform, and more importantly, you begin to see the purpose that God intended for you to walk into, those memories of those past days kind of come to mind and you begin to connect the dots. The light bulbs start to come on and you start to say to yourself, you know what? That's why I had to go through what I went through. That's where I was at during that moment in time in life. Wasn't always comfortable, wasn't always convenient, but it was necessary for me to get to where I am today. And
Yes.
so, with that said, if you would, take us back to those beginning days and kind of share with us what was it like for you growing up, fond memories that you have about growing up, and if there are any challenges that come to mind you'd like to share, you can do that as well. Kind of give us the backdrop of where your story begins.
Okay. So, like the old folks say, back in the days, um, I was the oldest of two for a single mother. My father was in the picture, but he traveled and worked a lot. So, between my mother and my aunt, who's also my godmother, she they pretty much helped me get the foundation that I needed. Um, the biggest thing was just having the insecurity of transit, not knowing where I was gonna go, cause Mama worked hard, and we didn't always have, but she tried her best to make sure that we didn't know we didn't have. So, so we did move around a lot. Um, I'm telling you, it's probably about eight. 7, 8 different schools I attended in my life. So that got me behind in my education. That messed up my confidence in myself, being able to meet people because I didn't know how long I was going to be there, and actually having friends. So I learned how to be to myself a lot. Um, but one thing I can say my mama really did was making sure we at least had one vacation every year. She might have robbed Peter to pay Paul, but she made sure that we were given different things that people in the projects where I was raised didn't have outside of Salisbury. So we went camping, we went whitewater rafting, we went skiing, ice skating. She made sure we learned how to play chess. So she wanted us to be well rounded and not just from our own little hometown.
I love that. I love that. A lot of times people, don't understand if they haven't experienced that, what it must be like to, as you stated, to be a kid who had to move around a lot. So you have that challenge because, again, as you stated, just hard to establish friendships. It's hard to like establish some sense of stability.
Yeah.
Then when you combine that with a financial situation, being in a single parent household, living in the projects, then you have another type of instability that comes into play. But
Yeah.
what I appreciate about your story is the fact that despite what the conditions were, it's clear that you had a mother who made the most of it
She really did.
for you and your sibling to ensure that you had, as you stated, a well-rounded existence, a well-rounded
Yes.
life. And again, being a kid who grew up just like yourself in an environment where money was thin, it's something special when a parent can make you not even focus on what you don't have, because and all that has to do a lot with their presence, making sure that they're there for you, not just financially as best as they can be, but emotionally, psychologically, just again trying to make your world be as best as it can, so that you can thrive and strive and become whatever it is that God had set forth for you to become. And so stories like this, I think, are important because it reminds us that the money is, while it's important in the sense of being able to
But it's not
pay bills
everything.
and things like that, it's not everything. And the less we get caught up about that, the more we can appreciate just what life has to offer and be thankful for what is available, rather than kind of growing up with, unfortunately, like a lot of kids these days, whether they come from low income backgrounds, or even come from middle class or upper middle class households, where they have more of a sense of entitlement, like things are just supposed to be a certain kind of way for them, like as if somebody owes them something, rather than having that true, genuine, loving experience. And so I find it interesting that you started off talking about things the way that you have. I don't know if you paid attention to the title of our show this evening. Your episode
Still
is
thankful.
still thankful. So it's like, in spite of the money being
That's right.
thin, in spite of the fact that my dad wasn't around as often because he worked a lot and things like that, I'm still, and I could just tell from the tone in you sharing the story that you grew up in a family which you were still thankful for what you had.
Yes.
And that really becomes critical, particularly as you enter those stages in life where you begin to encounter challenging storms and things of that nature. That, yeah, the discomforts are there, the inconveniences are there. There may be some pain,
Yeah.
some tears shared, or things like that. But in the end, when you understand who the ultimate provider is, when you understand
Oh,
what
yes.
things matter the most, it allows you to still be thankful, even in the midst of all of the other stuff and the turmoil and the chaos that may be going on around you.
Yeah.
So again, I appreciate you
And
sharing
I
what you
have
shared.
I have a strong family support system.
That's awesome.
I really do. My grandmother and now my godmother, God rest their souls, they were a foundation for me. My other aunt, God rest her soul, She was another foundation. I mean, that was my, how they say, my road dog there. So, and then my mom, I mean, I was surrounded by strong women.
Mm,
And they really showed me how I needed to be in their different aspects so I'll know what am I. Because
mm-hmm.
that's one thing I struggled with during that time. I didn't know who I was.
Hmm.
And then I turned around and moving from place to place, I ended up being a people pleaser, being
Mm.
whoever they wanted me to be. So I had a mask on all my life.
Wow. Yeah, yeah, and that's something that that can be a byproduct of an existence like that, where again that absence of stability in terms of being able to have the chance to make genuine connections and friendships, to know that not only to get to know people, but that the people that you are engaging with, that these people are really truly and genuinely wanting to be a part of your life, wanting to be there for you, wanting to be that support system for you. And so, as you said, it's kind of hard. And if you're struggling in that regard, then to your point, you might find yourself falling victim to that people pleasing mentality, where
Yeah.
I'll do anything to have a friend. I'll do anything to have somebody that'll talk to me,
Talk to
that'll
me and
keep me from
accept
being
me.
lonely,
Yeah.
and along with that, in some instances, may cause you to, whether you intend to or not, I'm even willing to accept how they treat me in return, as long as they still talk to me.
Yes.
You know, yeah, they may dismiss me, they may be disrespectful to me, they may mistreat me, they may not reciprocate the way I do for them what they would do for me, but I'll take, it's what I have, so I'll take that because it's better than just being by myself.
Yeah.
But when we get into that mindset, it's because, to what you alluded to there, is that we didn't understand what our value and
We
our
didn't.
worth was.
We really
And while it
didn't.
is important to have a circle of people around you, both family and friends, at the end of the day, you don't, none of that really matters if you don't know who
Who
you
you
are, if you
are.
don't understand your value and your worth,
Yeah.
because it allows you, and knowing that, it allows you to set the appropriate boundaries. It
Yeah.
allows you to set
And
that standard.
yeah.
I want friends, but I'm not willing to settle to get that. I'll
Boundaries,
take
and that's
being
what
by
you got to do.
myself before I take less and have you treat me as such. So again, all of these things that you're bringing up are key components to one's journey. As I'm sure, as we delve into more from you, we're going to begin to see
Yes.
how all these parts all connect together. So
Yeah. I was
now
told once that
yes, go ahead.
I'd rather have the absence, miss the absence of your present, than have your presence be absent in me.
Mm,
So I think that's how it went. But it's just, we had to, back then we didn't understand. I did not understand it.
mm-hmm.
It took me a long time before I did. I really did. But I
Wow.
did once I had kids. I instilled that in them.
Mm-hmm.
Their confidence, who they are. Be your individual. Both of my children, I have two, I raised them totally different because they're different people.
That's good
And
stuff.
they're thriving. I mean, my daughter's in grad school, working with chemistry, doing work with Hershey's.
Okay.
Son is athlete.
Doing his
I'm
thing.
proud of my babies.
That's awesome. Love to hear that. Love to hear that. Now, you made mention, of course, in the beginning that you are in education, and if I'm correct, specifically, you are a librarian. Is that
Yes.
correct? Okay.
Yes.
What was it in your early coming up that steered you to the direction that one day you might want to pursue, not only going into education, but specifically being a librarian? Because depending upon who you talk to, you're usually going to be on one side or the other of the fence with that. It's like somebody will either find being a librarian the most exciting, phenomenal thing to do, and then there are probably others who'll be like, of all the things you want to be a librarian, like as if it's something boring,
Uh-huh.
So and I've worked in a library before in college, as work study programs.
It's
So,
not boring.
but and it's not really boring when you like in the midst of it if you just get a
Mm-hmm.
taste of it. But I'm just kind of curious, just since what led you to even be interested in that path, specifically in education.
Okay, education.
Hmm.
My grandfather, two of my aunts, my uncle. I had another aunt that was in education. I was surrounded by it.
Mm.
I was surrounded by it. And the library at school was my safe place.
Mm.
So I got a chance to actually learn because those books are the world. I can take it and I'm transferred from Salisbury to Egypt. Didn't know anything about Egypt, but I did know this little bit. And then after graduating, I met one of my teachers, ended up becoming my spiritual sister. And she told me to go for my master's degree in library science and digital media. So I did that, went ahead and got a position in um, education, teaching at the college as adjunct at first. I didn't stay there long because these kids were about the same age I was. They did not respect me as much as I wanted them to, but I mean, it still was a great experience. And then doing elementary, middle as a librarian, I stayed at one school, the librarian, for 13 years. And then I left there and I'm in high school now, and I've been there for 5 years.
Hmm.
And it's just, I get new babies all the time. Every year I have a new crop of children that before they leave there, they're going to call me mama, grandma, auntie, because I built in that relationship, that trust with them. And they never act the same way with me that they did with other teachers.
Hmm. See, and I asked you this for a few reasons. I mean, of course, one because I was just naturally curious what got you on that path. But again, this ties back into why I like to have this introductory part of our conversation because you start off as a kid, as we shared earlier, feeling oftentimes alone because of the transitions here, there, and everywhere, and not being able to establish these friendships. And to keep you from sort of, kind of going crazy within yourself, you find of all places, of all things to that brought you solace, that brought you comfort and peace, was to be in a library. And of course, being in that library environment allowed you to be around books and do a lot of reading. And
Yes.
I love the way you made the illustration about how I could travel basically all over the world through the reading of books. And so it doesn't surprise me, what may have started off as like a, oh, she was by herself and she didn't have a lot of friends, whatever. It's like none of the things that we go through in life are by accident. This is by divine assignment for you to go through that season of life that you went through, but it was to prepare you for what you're able to do today in the field of education as well as outside of the field in your work as an author and in your service in the community and things like
Yes.
that. You had to develop a experience, I should say, a background that allowed you to be able to be a living, walking example of what it means to basically expand your horizons.
Yes.
As we just talked about a moment ago, not making it all about being necessarily the most popular in the room, but being somebody that was that had a true personality and had something impactful to share. You said it yourself that kids responded to you differently oftentimes than they did to other teachers. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't because you were, quote unquote, better than them or above them or anything
No.
like that, but it was the relatability
Mm-hmm.
and the safe haven of the library and your ability to absorb knowledge and be able to share those experiences and pour into in this case the lives of young people and expand their minds, not necessarily knowing that some of those very kids might have been a replication of you, what you had to deal with, and they were looking for something positive, something meaningful that they could attach to that wouldn't get them in trouble being out in the streets and running wild,
That's
but to do
right.
something that actually builds their mind,
Mm-hmm.
that actually expands their horizons in terms of the way that they think, becoming thinkers,
Mm-hmm.
rather than just out here just doing stuff that maybe again may not necessarily be on the right path that they need to be on. Because as the saying goes, idle minds is the devil's workshop. So we can get easily caught up if we don't have nothing to do.
That's right.
A lot of times, especially in these days and times, the media, the electronics, the technology takes over. We've gotten away from getting into a book and reading. I'm bored. I'm bored. Well, grab a book and unboard yourself.
Yes.
Learn something.
Yeah.
And so I think back to where you were. I think of where you are today and where you're still going.
Mm-hmm.
That this was all stepping stones to you getting to that point. So again, what may have seemed like and it was, I'm not going to diminish it, I'm sure, a tough time, a difficult time to deal with, but the challenge, the pressure, the minor inconvenience, if you would, that you had to go through was for a bigger purpose,
Mm-hmm.
for you to do what you do today. Had you not
Yes.
perhaps gone through that moment, that season of life, and
Mm-hmm.
not had the experience of the safe haven of being in the library and around books and expanding your knowledge base and your horizons, you may not be equipped to do what you do today.
Yes.
And so when you reflect back on it, you say, you know what? Yeah, I would have, I would
That
have,
light
I would have
bulb goes
scripted it a
off.
little bit better,
Yeah.
to make it more convenient and fun for me. But that's not how growth happens.
No.
There has to be, not to say the growth has to be all bad, in terms of the journey,
Yeah.
but you can't expect to just everything just goes smooth flowing, no bumps in the road, no hurdles to leap or anything like that, and expect
It's
to
just
grow
like
too.
pruning a tree. I mean,
Yes.
you got to take off those bad things
Hmm.
within yourself in order to continue that growth.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Love that. Love that. So TR, again, you kind of share with us how your journey begins, and overall you had a great childhood. I mean, I don't think there's anything to dismiss about that. Yeah, some challenges in between, but you had a great childhood. And as we enter into adulthood, the experiences continue to come. Some good, some challenging, but if you live long enough, the reality is that at some point in life, you will find yourself facing a storm, a life challenge that hits a little different. It hits in a way where, maybe you start to question, how am I going to get through this? I'm very well read. I know a lot of things. I'm pretty smart. And I'm usually good at navigating through, even some challenging and difficult times. But every now and then you get hit with something that's a little bit bigger than what you're used to carrying. The weight is a little bit heavier. You feel
Yes.
stuck. You feel helpless. Your money can't fix it. You can't make a phone call and get a favor to take this away. It's you in the storm, and you don't know what to do with that situation. And again, you may be feeling some sense of doubts and fears and worries and anxieties and all the other negative emotions that tend to build up inside of us in such moments. So, with that said, tell us about a time that's exactly how you were feeling. You were facing this storm, facing this challenge, didn't know what to do with it. Obviously, you're here today, so we can trust that God made a way for you to,
You
to
made a
get through it.
way.
But maybe back then, though, even knowing God that you like you know him today, you might have been thinking to yourself, nah, this is a bit much to ask of me. I don't know what to do with this.
That's
What
right.
was that situation like for you? And what was ultimately the turning point when you began to see some light at the end of the tunnel?
Um, those there are two challenges that help um, me that broke me emotionally, and those challenges. One challenge was when I was younger, um, about a teenager, about 14, 15. Um, I was sexually molested by a family member, um, someone I trusted, I looked up to. But that was all in that people pleasing because I was like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand. And I felt for the longest that it was my fault, that I did something wrong. Because I mean, back in the 80s, I mean, we had shorts. Maybe I shouldn't have worn those shorts. Maybe I should have worn jeans that day. Maybe I shouldn't have worn that top. Maybe I should have worn this. Maybe I shouldn't have said something. I didn't know what it was. It was my fault. And I felt like everybody blamed me, even though they probably did not. But that's what was in my head because I was unsure about the whole situation and what in the world was I supposed to do with it? How was I supposed to get out of this? And I didn't understand it. I really didn't. And it really broke me to where, I mean, I was looking for acceptance a lot of times in male figures. I wanted my father to be proud of me. I wanted my uncles to be proud of me. Guys I knew in college, I wanted them to be proud of me. I mean, I looked for acceptance because of that male figure. And really, it took until my adult years for me to peel back the whole situation. Because I did, in my adult years, I did seek therapy and help me peel back the situation, sit in those emotions. Yes, those emotions happened to me. Yes, this happened to me. But it doesn't make me. I am not that situation. And I had to learn that. And that took me for a big turn in where I start focusing on my mental health more. I mean, I'm a Gen X. I'm a 70s baby. We were taught we were taught suck it up, deal with
Mm-hmm.
it. Put a band-aid on it, go keep going. Plus, I mean, I was the oldest of what? 10 grandkids. So I had a lot of people looking up to me. And I was trying my best to be what everybody needed me to be.
Mm.
But it was all at the cost of my own mental health. The other situation was going to college. I was in Salisbury. Other than going on these little vacations with my mama, I've never been anywhere. And majority of those vacations were still in North Carolina. So going off to college, I didn't have my mama there to tell me what I couldn't do. I had a whole bunch of friends then, but they weren't real friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I pushed myself and pushed myself and pushed myself to be friends here, to be friends there, to be this type of person, to be that type of person. I didn't know who I was. I lost myself. And in that, I lost that little me in here. And it pushed me so hard that I ended up having to go to the counseling services on campus. And that was my first time getting help. And they took me in. I ended up having my work study there because that was my freshman year. Ended up having my work study there and learning a lot about behavior and mental health and helping others. and it helped me a little bit. But I was still that people pleaser. Yes, I'll take care of that. No, no, no problem. That's not a problem at all. So I was an adult by the time I learned how to say no.
Mm-hmm.
I really cannot put that in my schedule right now. You know what? I can get that for you, but it will not be today. If I had known all of that way back then, things would have been different. However, I guess I wasn't supposed to learn that. That wasn't in his will at that time. Because all these things taught me that even though seasons change, that I also have that strength inside of me. That foundation that those strong women put in me. So I mean, I'm not. I'm a lot better now than I was then. I'm not who I was because by the grace of God, He carried me through. There probably was some times that I should not have been around. I shouldn't have made it, but I did. And I had to figure out that okay, He has a purpose for me.
Mm-hmm.
I need to step up, get off that fence, and step up, and do what I'm supposed to do.
Wow. Wow. Um, Let me first start off by saying I appreciate your transparency in sharing. You pointed out two very monumental events in your life,
Mm-hmm.
traumatic events.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but to your point, in spite of the trauma, in spite of the challenge that came along with that,
Mm-hmm.
and it's important for our listeners to understand that yes, God will allow you to go through certain things such as these, not because He's forgotten about you, not because He
Mm-mm.
doesn't care about you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He's there all along,
Mm-hmm.
and He's going to make sure that it doesn't take you out.
Mm-hmm.
But what a lot of times we don't understand is that the things that we go through,
Mm-hmm.
and I've said this numerous times over the podcast, is just that sometimes when you're going through the stuff that you're going through, what you have to understand is that it's not always about you.
It's not. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes God has to, for a bigger purpose,
Mm-hmm.
He has to allow you to go through it, allow you to experience it,
Mm-hmm.
so you can learn from it and not only grow from it personally, but He's actually equipping you
Mm-hmm.
because He's set up a platform that you don't know about in the moment
That
that you're going
actually
through it.
did not
That
know
one
about
day
it.
you're going to be on that platform,
Mm-hmm.
that people are going to need to hear from you
Yes.
what your experience was like,
Mm-hmm.
because that's going to make you relatable to that
Yeah.
audience.
Mm-hmm.
But then what they're going to need to hear is how you were able to get your breakthrough in
Yeah.
that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when, because of your relationship with Him, you're
Yes.
going to be able to tell those individuals who need to hear your story, just as you're doing this evening,
Mm-hmm.
that I would love to take credit for it all, that it was all me,
It's not in me.
but it was bigger than me.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a lucky situation. It wasn't a hookup,
No.
but it was favor.
Mm-hmm.
It was favor that only
Mm-hmm.
God could extend that
Yes.
allowed me to get out of and get through these
Mm-hmm.
situations that I found myself in because I didn't know my worth.
Yeah.
I didn't know my value. The minute I got a sniffing of freedom,
Mm-hmm.
got out of my immediate surroundings, comfort zones, I
Yes.
lost my everlasting
Lost
mind.
it.
And I
Lost it.
did a little bit of any and
And
everything.
I was at a HBCU too. Oh my goodness.
So I just had a good old time. Had a good old
Yes.
time. Not that
Yes, but
college is not supposed to be a fun experience where you explore and find out about yourself and find new things, but there's still, as we shared about earlier, there's still boundaries. There's
yes.
still discipline. There's still parameters that have to be set. Because if they're not, then you become one of the statistics that we see all across the country, on college campuses throughout the world,
Yes.
where somebody, even the brightest, have come on campuses, lost their minds, got caught up, and then now they find themselves without an education, or they find themselves perhaps parents sooner than what they intended to be, or or in some tragic situations, maybe even cost their lives because they got caught up in habits and
Something that,
practices
yeah.
that were nothing that they were ever taught or came up on, but
Yes.
because of the spirit, and we talked about earlier, of this whole thing about I want to people please, even if it means denying common sense for myself, denying personal well-being for me. If it allows me to fit in with the crew, with the crowd, okay,
Yes.
let's do that. I'm in. Sign me up. Yes, yes, yes. When you should
And
be
it's
saying no.
actually a syndrome. It's
Yes, it
called
is.
good girl and nice guy syndrome. I mean, it's in the books. It's research. I was like, whoa. So this is why I did that.
Yeah.
So that's all part of me, my reading, my learning, my growth. But also, I want to say that we really don't know how many females have gone through essay. And because they don't know how to speak up. We don't know how many children, especially, I mean, I'm in high school, I was in middle school, seeing kids pregnant in middle school. I mean, we don't know what led that on. But there was a reason, because she needed to grow. And that's all it is. I did not understand that then. Then I tore myself up. I was my own worst enemy. But it's just a large number. And as I said, I'm not the only one.
Oh, absolutely.
But I'm speaking on it because somebody else might need to hear this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely they do.
So
Absolutely they do.
they
And
need to know you're not alone.
yes,
And
you're
you
not
can
alone.
get out of it.
And and one of the things, I mean, obviously I just for a moment was highlighting about, kind of going to that college and getting, getting outside of ourselves. But it was really, it wasn't just all of those things. It was bigger than that, because for you, in your story, the way I look at it is you were still trying to figure out a way to heal from this earlier experience of sexual assault.
Yeah.
You, as you stated earlier, I was blaming myself. People counted on me, so I didn't want to disappoint or let anybody down, even though I'm hurting.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to heal from that. And so I thought maybe if I continue to people please and just amp it up a few levels, then that would somehow make it go away. When in truth, all along, what needed to happen, and perhaps in your therapy you discovered this, or at some point in just conversations with God you discovered this, but ultimately what I see is that you had to arrive at a point in life where you forgave not only the one who
Them,
did this
but
to you,
myself.
but to forgive you.
Yes.
Not because you did anything wrong per se, but you needed to forgive yourself because you felt like you had done something wrong, and
Yeah.
you were basically punishing you, and never giving yourself any kind of reprieve, any grace. But but on the flip side of things, you had no problem extending grace and mercy to others, whether it was something that they did to somebody else, or even when it was stuff that they did directly to you. But when it came to you, you didn't even know how to show yourself grace.
No.
How to show you, like, as if you were just supposed to be, scarred for life. You were supposed to, you were marked, you were determined to be no good, devalued, and that's just the mark you must carry forever.
Yeah.
And so I want our listeners to understand that even if you found yourself in a situation, I mean, we obviously we're talking about sexual assault, but just in life in general, where you made a poor decision
Yeah.
and you did something that you shouldn't did or said something that you shouldn't have said,
That's
don't
just how it goes.
ever allow yourself to feel like that one misstep, one mistake, one mishap that defines you, and that's just the end of,
Yeah.
of everything that you are or were ever meant to be, because that's just not true. And that's the danger, unfortunately, these days when you think about the impact of like social media. Because see, on social media, we get to basically put on that mask we talked about
Mass.
and pretend to be all these great and exciting, wonderful things
Yep.
that we do and the people that we are. And unfortunately, a lot of those people, I'm not saying everybody, but quite a few are doing that, and they're misleading those of us who haven't healed from our stuff, and we start believing that
That's what
that's
it
what true happiness is supposed to look like, and what value looks like, because you're not seeing the transparent and the vulnerable aspects of it all. You're only seeing the cleaned up, painted up picture,
Yes,
the
right.
mask version of it. You're not seeing the real step by step going through something
What you
that's
had to go
traumatic in
through
life
to
and what you
get
had to
there.
go through to get to where you need to get
Yeah.
to. And so when you have opportunities like what we're doing this evening, or in other platforms or venues where we peel back those layers and just keep it
Yes.
real with you. I went through something. It wasn't good. It hurt.
It hurt.
It made me feel some kind of way. And it took me a while to understand that one, it wasn't my fault. That secondly, I deserve better. And three, that I'm worthy of that.
Oh yeah.
I had to get to that point. And so some of you who may be tuning in, you may be in a similar stuck position, and you've been blaming yourself for far too long. You've been allowing that trauma of the past to weigh you down so
Weigh
heavily
you
that
down.
you're not even you anymore. And so our plea to you is to show yourself some grace.
Yes.
Show yourself some mercy. If you've been mishandled, mistreated, violated, that wasn't your fault. And quit carrying that burden. And if you want to heal, forgive the person
They
who
have to
did it.
forgive.
Not
I mean, and
because you
it's not
condone the
saying that they
behavior.
have to say I'm sorry.
No, that's right.
It's not that.
No,
You don't have to
that's
worry about that part. That's on them.
that's on
You
them.
have to forgive them, because if you don't forgive, you're giving them ties to your soul,
Absolutely.
and they're controlling that.
Mm-hmm.
You have to let that go.
Yes. Yes.
You can't be on the thing, well, you don't know what he did to me. I don't.
I don't.
But I do know that in order for you to start walking in your truth, you're going to have to let it go. You're going to have to accept it and say, I forgive myself, I forgive them, and let it go.
Yeah. And understand that forgiveness does not, and I want to make sure people are clear about this. It doesn't mean that we're saying that the behavior was okay,
Oh, no.
that what they did or what they said was right. Forgiveness does not mean that. Because remember, it, like you stated, it's for you. It's how you begin to ignite the healing process.
Yes.
Because until you do, you continue to wallow in that. You continue to marinate in that. And guess what? The enemy loves for you to do that.
Oh,
He loves to see you do that because
slow
he
you
knows
down.
that it's messing up your mental health. He knows that it's maintaining that depressive state that you walk in, that low self-esteem that you walk in. He knows that it helps to stir up, the recklessness in behavior because we're acting out. We just like we're in that I don't give a care mode anymore. It's whatever.
That's right.
Not understanding the effects of that whatever mentality can get us caught up in situations that are far, perhaps even far worse than the trauma that took us there. So you want to keep all of those things in mind and understand that the enemy is always looking for ways to take your lowest moments in life. Those moments where you got your guard down to take advantage of you and and perhaps make a bad situation worse.
And
When you can forgive,
he'll keep
yeah,
saying it in your
he'll
ear.
keep talking it to you. Keep talking
Even
it
if
to you.
even after you heal, he'll keep going, reminding you.
You remember you remember when you had that situation, and it could be decades have gone by,
Yes.
just to slow you down, just to get you second guessing your value, your worth,
Yes.
your purpose in life. But we serve a God that says otherwise, who has the last say, in fact.
Amen.
And so that's what you have to lean into.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not here preaching to you. We're just telling you this is what it takes.
It
Those
takes.
steps to move forward.
Yes.
Now, we are fortunate enough that being in relationship with Christ, He will also provide that support system that you need. So
Mm-hmm.
as you shared earlier, things like therapy, things that those of us 70 kids like us, that was a taboo thing back in the day
Yeah.
because
Mm-hmm.
therapy meant you was crazy, something was
Yep.
wrong with you. You
Mm-hmm.
don't need no therapy,
Mm-hmm.
but you understand over life and you understand and appreciate,
Mm-hmm.
that if you get the right type of therapy, and when I say right type, somebody that's not only trained but also has a Christian
Christian
background
background.
that can speak to you at a higher level when they're speaking that therapy into you, can help you with that healing process and that transformation process
Yes.
and getting your mind cleansed and in the right way and in the right
Yes.
focus.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you can keep moving forward, but more importantly, be able to take the thing that used to hold you down, that pain,
Mm-hmm.
that shame, be
Mm-hmm.
able to turn that into a blessing where you can pour into somebody else
That's right.
that doesn't know like you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you can pass it along to somebody else and perhaps help them so
Mm-hmm.
they don't have to go through what you had to go through.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully it creates a ripple effect where just
Yeah.
your blessing, your message, your testimony transitions on and on through the lives of others. That's
And
that's
it's
all a
not
part of the
saying that
journey.
you're not going to have challenges. I just
Absolutely.
had a challenge last year that almost broke me. For a minute, I forgot. I forgot who I was. I forgot who I belonged to.
Hmm.
But I had to remember. And with my spiritual sisters and my therapy, they gave me the tools that I needed to accept it, sit in it, and keep going.
Hmm.
As I said, it's a part of me, but it's not me.
That's right.
And that came up to me being awful because I put my healing journey was in words.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I mean, a lot of people journal, and that's great. That's a great tool,
Hmm.
putting it into words, and you can reflect back on it and see how far you've come.
Yes.
Because by His grace, we are healed, and we got to understand that.
And that's what keeps us still thankful,
Yes,
even when you're going through.
through. Mm-hmm.
Because the more you go through stuff, because it's not a matter of if but when.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that your perspective on how you look at it
Mm-hmm.
starts to shift.
Yeah.
You'll have that initial, I'm feeling some kind of way about this.
Mm-hmm.
May makes you yell, may make you cry. But like I said, you sit in it, but only temporarily. You don't
Yes.
stay stuck there.
Don't say so.
Let me have a moment to
Mm-hmm.
process this.
Mm-hmm.
And then you say, okay,
Mm-hmm.
let me pull myself together and let's press forward on what we need to do. Lord, talk to me. What are the next steps
Mm-hmm.
so I can keep pushing
Yeah.
forward? Because I refuse to stay stuck.
That's
The
right.
old me would have stayed stuck in this and waddled in it
Mm-hmm.
and and had my pity party in it. That's the old me, but that's not the me that I'm trying to operate in today.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we're not only going to defeat this, we're not going to overcome this, but we're going to figure out a way to take this and bless somebody else.
Bless somebody else.
So that's what we're going to do with this.
Mm-hmm.
So, and when you get to that mode, you start to become unstoppable
Yeah.
because it's just the mindset is different.
Mm-hmm.
You don't sweat that stuff like you used to.
Mm-hmm.
So this is good. This is good. So obviously we've talked about some heavy topics, and we know that storms can hit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course storms can just be day to day life and type stuff.
Yes.
But when you do find yourself going through, I'm curious to know, what is it that you personally like to do, your routine, your regimen that kind of works best for you as you're working through whatever the challenge is of the day that you're dealing with? How do you process that and do it again in a healthy and a productive manner?
Mm-hmm. Well, first I want to make sure that those who are watching and actually truly hearing my words, it's never too late. It's never too late to heal. As I said earlier, I was adult when I got to a point where it's time for me to heal. I need to find out who I was and put that at the forefront, because I know he had wonderful things for me, because that's what he told us. But the healing comes with me. Always reading, a lot of meditation, my scriptures, because I got a Bible almost everywhere, and I got my phone too that has a Bible app on it. So I'm always gonna open it up, and it's like, okay, what do I need to? Something's going on. What do I need to read? My children. I love hanging with my children. I really do. That warms my heart, because I am truly being a role model for them. Because they see what I'm doing. They know what I've been through. I haven't held nothing back from them. And we just keep going. They see that I have triumphed with his grace, with him holding me. And they use that. I got one in college and I got one in high school. And they're using that as a foundation to what they need. So, and then I do diamond art. But there are some times when I just sit and I have to talk. Ain't nobody in the room, but I know who's hearing me, and I just have to talk. And that's my processing time. Just talk it out.
Love that. Love that. I think the key word that stuck out to me that you in what you just spoke on is always.
Always.
And the reason why that stands out to me is that it lets me know that you're not a person who waits for the storm to arrive before you start prepping for that. There are things that you are always doing, that you're always making a part of your day to day. And for our listeners, I think this is something that's important for you to know, because you know storms, as we said, it's not an if but when. You know that they're going to
They're gonna
come,
come.
but what you should not do is just wait until they get here and then try to figure out how to deal with that. If you're always doing the things that keep your mind steady, keep your heart calm, to maintain a certain peace about yourself, then when you get hit with that storm, whether you had a warning that it was coming or if it just hit you by surprise, it may shake you a moment, it may rattle you a bit, but it won't take you out
No.
because of what you always do. You mentioned I keep the word around me everywhere I go, whether it's a room that I'm in or if it's on my phone. I keep God's presence around me. I
Yes.
have conversations with Him regularly, whether I'm going through or not. When that happens, you're building a relationship. When you're in that mode and when you're in that space, then things can come. But again, it doesn't destroy. It doesn't
Yes.
disrupt what you have. It just says, okay, I see you. Let me process this. Let me sit for a moment, and let me work through this. But
And
what
there
you're not
might be
getting ready to
times
do.
when it's hard to process.
Oh yeah.
And that's when you got that support system. My spiritual sisters and my father and my mother, my aunts, they are there. And they support me full heartedly. So sometimes I just have to run it by them.
Yeah.
because I'm having trouble. I mean, it's just not going. I
Mm-hmm.
might think I left it behind, but it keep popping back up.
Mm.
So that means I need to reprocess,
Yes.
and I need to actually talk to somebody, because maybe I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah. And this is where you have to have that circle.
Mm-hmm.
And some of us, and including myself, sometimes we struggle in figuring out who that circle should be because you do need to be selective.
Yes.
Um, but nevertheless, it is critical that you have a circle. It doesn't have to be a massive circle, just a select
Mine's a
group
small.
of people. Actually, smaller the better, but a select group of people that you know that you can be vulnerable and transparent in front of. You can trust them with your truth. And in response, they won't be judgmental, but they will be real with you.
Yes, they will.
If you out of line, if you out of pocket, they're gonna tell you that, but they're gonna do it in love,
Yes.
not to hurt you, not to knock you down, but to actually build you up.
We build you up.
And then that's important when you have people like that, people that will pray for you in your presence and will pray for you behind your back,
That's right.
even when you don't know. Even if you don't hear them praying for you, you know they're praying for you because you mean that much to them,
Yes.
and you're always on their minds, and they're always wanting the best for you. That you in your right mind and your best interest in whatever you're doing or whatever you're connected or involved with. That's what that circle needs to look like.
Yes.
And for some of us, we may have said, "Well, I got a circle," but some of us we need to reevaluate the circle because there might be some folks who need to
You
be
might need
swapped
to let
out.
go, because
Uh,
everything's for a season.
that point, yeah.
They might have been supposed to be in your life for a season.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you holding on to that season when it's time for it to go?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've
You
even
got to
had
get in
that.
your new season. You got to
Yes.
step.
Yes. Yes. I have a high schooler as well, my daughter, and I've had that conversation a number of times, telling her there are going to be some friends that you have now that some years down the
You might
road
not have
you
later.
won't have them anymore. And it may not have anything to do with you all got into a fight or anything like that. You've just gone in different directions.
Different directions.
They were there for a season, and you're entering into a season that they can't go into that direction that you're going into.
Yeah.
And there'll be some new folks that come in, but that you weren't ready for when you enter into that season
Yes.
because you all be in the same space. But the importance is throughout the cycle of life that for the seasons that you're in, for the times that you're in, that you're surrounding yourselves with people who genuinely and authentically want the best for you and want to be there for you um, in the ultimate truth of what that
Yes.
looks like, where you never have to question their sincerity, if they have an agenda. If people make you feel that way, or they get sometime, we all have our bad days.
That's right.
So we understand that, but we talking about the people who they'll show themselves to you if that's who they are.
Eventually they will. It's
And
gonna
as
come.
long as you're not in what we've been talking about, because I've been guilty of it as well. As long as we don't get into that people pleasing mentality, and we don't let that cloud our
Cloud our
discernment,
judgment.
so
I
we
know.
know, no, something don't set right with my spirit here. You know, God is giving me, some insight on this. The Holy Spirit is telling me they was they this season for them is ending.
Yes.
Now sometimes it's hard when it comes to parting ways. Sometimes it's hard to do because if you're just a naturally nice person, you don't like to hurt feelings.
That's right.
But at the end of the day, your feelings are important too.
Yeah.
So how many times are you going to forsake you just to what? People please others. Sometimes no just has to be okay with you. Sometimes no longer just has to be okay. I'm sorry, not sorry. It's been real. It may sound harsh, and you don't have to be disrespectful in the manner that you do it, but sometimes the departing, the separation is necessary.
Yeah. And it
And
sounds hard because they're not used to it and we're not either.
right.
That's not how we were, as I say, conditioned.
So we have to decondition
Through,
ourselves.
yeah, we had to
from some of that.
decondition through that good girl, nice guy mentality.
Hmm.
That conditioned us.
They say nice guys finish last.
I
Nice,
know.
nice girls finish last. I mean, you know, again, it's not a call to be rude or
No,
disrespectful or
it's not.
mistreat people.
Mm-hmm.
Because usually the nice guys and the nice girls know what that feels like to be
Mm-hmm.
mistreated. So
Yeah.
the last thing you want to do is do that to somebody else because you know how it felt when it was done to you.
Yes.
But it is okay to, as my stepdad used to say, practice some healthy selfishness.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have to practice some healthy. There is a such thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the saying no comes in. Sometimes
Yes.
there's that. That's where your peace of mind and your well-being has a couple of levels of priority above somebody else's, and
Yes.
that's okay. That doesn't make you a horrible person. That doesn't make you a non-giving, non-caring, non-concerned for others person. It just means I love me.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to love others,
Yeah.
but not if I'm dismissing me. What good would I be to other people if I don't care about myself?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we have to do that sometimes. And so again, back to you, what you shared, just in how you deal with challenging times. That to me is a practice that you as you admitted, I had to grow into this. I had to get to this point where I mattered.
Mm-hmm.
That I was considered to be a part of that equation of decision making. And so I decided for me that I'm not going to allow people to steal my joy anymore. I'm not going to allow
Mm-hmm.
people to disrupt my peace anymore,
That's right. That's
including
right.
myself. I'm not going to allow me to do that to me.
Yeah, you
you
don't
know,
owe access to other people who don't understand your boundaries.
that's right. That's
So,
right.
I mean, they really got to understand no is a complete sentence.
hmm
I don't have to add to it. I don't have to say why.
I don't need, I don't need to explain.
Mm-mm.
It's just no.
No.
Because, no. Because I don't want to.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have time. No. No. And you need to be okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
But what about,
What?
what part of no didn't you understand?
I know I
The
said
N or
it.
the O? No.
I know
I
I
said it
said
with a
it.
smile too. No. Sometimes it's like that. But again, even in the midst of the storm, though, again, I'm going to still be thankful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to still be thankful, Lord, for what you've done for me. I got countless examples of you coming through, even in the most difficult of times.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to let what's this next storm get me down.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I know if you are allowing it to come my way, that you got something setting up for me.
There's
So
something
let's ride with this and see where it takes us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because my father told me that the road to success is through failure.
hmm
Because you have to go through those failures to know what you need to do for that next step in success.
hmm
And
Yeah.
that's in growth too. Sometimes we just got to go through it. Do we like it? No.
hmm
But we got to go through it.
Got to go through it.
Because there's something wonderful on the other side that's going to really elevate
Yes. Yes. So, TR, if you had the opportunity to sit across the table from the younger version of yourself,
you.
the version that went through some trauma in life, the version who didn't at one point in time know her worth, know her value, was really heavily into people pleasing.
Mm-hmm.
If you could talk to her, if you could share some insights, some words of wisdom, some things that you wish she knew that you know now, that you
Mm-hmm.
wish she would have known then. I'm curious to know, what would you say to her, as well as what would you say to any of our listeners that might be tuning in and they're caught up in that good girl, nice guy, people pleasing syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
that blaming themselves
Mm-hmm.
for something that they went through that it wasn't their fault, but they had been struggling to stop blaming themselves.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have to say to them? What do you have to say to your younger version of yourself?
Um, the first thing was that I said earlier, you are not the situation that you went through. You are not. And you got to understand that's not what you become, and that's not where you will be. Because as a healing gives us, it may be lonely. You might feel lonely in that time to yourself or don't want to be around anybody. But you have to learn that freedom is on that other side of that wall. We build that wall. Freedom's over there. It's time to get a sledgehammer and knock that down.
Mm.
And then um, you got to give yourself permission to outgrow the version of you that survived.
Hmm.
That's that forgiveness I was telling you about. You gotta forgive other people, and that don't mean you gotta tell them, but you're forgiving them in your heart and in God's eye, and you're forgiving yourself
I hate this game.
because we can't. I mean, anything that's stagnant, water that's stagnant does not. It collects up bad stuff. Trees that don't grow properly, they die, they wither. That's not growth. We have to grow. We have to keep stepping up. And then what I'm seeing now is that my story still has a purpose. And I want them to know their story has a purpose too. Even with all the painful parts, it has a purpose.
Love that. Love that. Very well said. Very well said. Well, TR, this has been an awesome time hanging out with
Yes.
you.
We sitting here talking like old friends.
Oh yes, yes. That's how this was supposed to go. It's supposed to go. Yeah, we ain't just met no more. But again, I appreciate your transparency. You're sharing your story. You have been a very much a blessing to me, to my listeners, and drop some definite gems on us to that we can apply immediately in our respective situations. So I appreciate you for that, and I appreciate all that God is doing with you and through you to be a blessing to so many. So I thank you so much for being a part of our broadcast this evening. But before I let you go, as is common here, as what we do here on the Blessings in the Streets podcast, is we want to take an opportunity to celebrate you, to love on you, to lift you up. So if you got anything that's going on right now or coming up down the road, please do share with us all the details about it, how people can continue to follow, support, be a part of what you're doing. We want to know everything there is to know about what you got going on. If nothing more, just so that we can keep you lifted up in prayer. So, what do the people need to know? What do I need to know that TR got going on that we need to be connected with?
Tiara always has irons in the fire. I got my book that came out in November. It is also in Spanish. They're both on Amazon. This book is We Still Rise, a work journal for the lost, the betrayal, and becoming. Um, Also, I got another book that's going to come out soon. I'm in the final edits of it. Um, that's going to talk about that people pleasing.
Hmm. All right.
Um, but they can always follow me because I keep all my stuff on my social media. It is Library Queen B, and then at Instagram, on Facebook, and on TikTok.
Love that. Love that. Y'all better keep following the library queen bee. She ain't playing with you. Library queen
That's right.
bee. Love that. Love that. Get that book. You've already heard, a snippet of what she shared with you about her journey and everything. So you know what she's about. You know she's a God-fearing woman, so her work is going to be reflective of that. So if it'll be a blessing to you or somebody that you know, definitely support. Keep up with her social media handles and see what she's doing. I'm sure she would definitely appreciate that. And like I said, if nothing more, keep her lifted in prayer because carrying out your purpose in life and doing it in alignment with God's will is not an easy task, but it's a necessary task. And when you're in that role, when you're in that position, you need all the energy and all the support and all the love you can get.
Yes.
So,
Because
we welcome that.
things try to stop you.
That's right. The enemy is trying to stop it.
Yes.
He doesn't like to see things like this go on, and he's going to do anything to be of discouragement or block or impede. And so, all your prayers, all your support, all your love that you show allows TR to keep the strength, keep the faith, to keep pressing forward. In addition to the relationship that she already has with God, all of those things combined together makes her a force to be reckoned with, and we want to continue to see, as I'm sure we will, great things come from her in the weeks and the months and the years to come. So again, I appreciate you for being on the show with us, and to my listeners, if you've enjoyed our broadcast this evening, if it's been a blessing to you, please subscribe, please share, please like, please comment, because this is what the Blessings in the Streets podcast is about. We want to be inspiring, encouraging, uplifting, stripping back the layers, being real, being raw, being transparent, letting you know that, hey, we all go through our stuff. We don't sit here perfect like we got it all figured out. But the one thing that we do know is who's in
We're still
charge.
thankful.
We're still thankful in the midst of anything that's going on. And we know again who's in charge of it all at the end of the day, and that's God Himself. And if you don't currently have a relationship with Him, today would be a mighty fine day for you to make that decision. And I promise you, it'll be the best decision that you ever make in life.
Yes.
He loves you unconditionally. He wants nothing but the best for you when you're going through those difficult and challenging times. He's saying you don't have to carry that burden. You don't have to carry that weight. Cast that upon Him. He'll
Cast
take
him.
it all and just watch Him do His thing. And when I tell you that He'll move in miraculous and marvelous ways, not only will that serve as a blessing to you, but it can also position you to be equipped to be a blessing to so many others.
Yes.
So with that said, remember here at the Blessings in the Streets podcast, this is the place where your story is your glory, where your relationships are relevant, and your journey is your joy. I am your host, Joseph B. Roberts, and I thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, you keep fighting that good fight, keep leaning into God, keep trusting and believing in Him. Let Him guide your steps. Let Him lead the path. Let's get out of the people pleasing. Let's get out of carrying those traumas of the past and blaming ourselves. Allow yourself that grace. Show yourself that mercy. Forgive.
Yes.
And ask God to give you the strength to take those steps, even if they're baby steps, to move forward and walk in to the purpose that He designed you specifically just for you to be the miracle that He created, to be the blessing to this world that He designed for you to be. So until next time, you take care of yourselves. Have a great rest of your evening, and we look forward to seeing you next time.